Hey, this is Tony Cook, and I am here with none other than Mr. Home Shops, Chris Palmieri. Chris, how you
Hi,
doing? I
Tony.
haven't seen you in a while.
I'm doing great, Tony. Long time no see. It's good to be here and talk about an exciting new release.
Rapido, is this your first partnership with Rapido Trains, I believe, isn't it, for this HO
Yes,
boxcar?
yes, sir. This is indeed our very first Rapido offering. Stay tuned, more to come.
Wow. You guys have been doing such awesome stuff, and I love learning about the different road names, for these different freelance roads. So if you would take us through, this is the PC&F, 5258 double door boxcar that's also a new tooling from Rapido, I believe, as well, isn't it?
It is. This is an all-new tooling car. It goes by two names. The car is manufactured by Pacific Car and Foundry, and it's a 5258 cubic foot car. But it was really only sold to one railroad family, the SP Cotton Belt, and they had their own name series for it, the B70, 69, 71, and 75. So they go by both names, but we're not actually modeling SP cars, though most people call them the V70. So they're PC&F 5258s.
Hmm.
And this car type I saw at the Denver Rocky Mountain Train Show last April. And they had an undecked version. And I looked at the car and I thought, oh my goodness, I can see about 3 dozen road names on this car. It's just a beautiful car. So the conversation started. And here we are less than a year later with
Wow.
actual cars.
Wow. And these are landing February, I think I saw on your website that you're hoping to ship the pre-orders during February 2024.
Correct. We should definitely make that. The cars have actually landed at Rapido Trains in Toronto, and this is Monday before Amherst, and they have sent 3 cases of each road name to Amherst. And there's 2 pallets of cars that are going to be timed to arrive here where I am in Texas after I return from Amherst, and we'll process them and be able to ship them in February, all the pre-orders. We're right now up to 183 pre-orders, so I think
Nice.
we're doing pretty good.
Well, take us through the group and give us a little behind the scenes. These are always exciting road names to see, but if you have some information on give us some background on them. Like this one, I know I've seen before. You've done this on other cars.
Yeah, you've seen this one, and these are just presented in reporting mark alphabetical order. So the first road name in this release is the Arkansas Valley. This is a freelance railroad that's been around for about 40 years or so, belonging to a fellow named Joe Loggins. This car has the Youngstown doors, which is an option of Rapido offered us 3 different door options on this car, and you'll see some variants throughout the order. These represent cars that are built new. 2 of 73 is the date that's stenciled on the side of them. And they're in the beautiful, which we call Sporandio Blue. And the owner of the railroad can tell you a lot of the history with Andy. Andy was a member of the Model Railroad Club in New Orleans, the Crescent City Model Railroad Club, where this railroad kind of debuted. And just to give you a little visual, Joe Loggins' Arkansas Valley is somewhat inspired by the Arkansas, Missouri, which is an Alco road in the Ozarks. And there's some of his equipment. This is, to your point, the 3rd Arkansas Valley car that we've produced as a Home Shops offering. The very first car was the Tangent 4750 covered hopper, which sold out quickly. We did the 86-foot box car, which is almost sold out. And we're now really happy to bring this 50-foot box car as we continue the tradition of the Arkansas Valley. It's got a silver roof and just kind of the overhead view of the car, just really crisp the way the lettering and the logo is done over the ribs, and the forklift grooves on the doors are painted a white color to make them stand out. All of the cars have that feature with some highlighted color on the forklift grooves in the doors.
Real authentic look. That's the one thing I love about all these cars you're doing. I mean, the COT stencil, the ACI plate, as you mentioned, the white markers there on the doors. These cars look so legit. You almost take a double take of, where's that railroad operate? Like, well, it operates in 187th in someone's basement, probably. It's like, oh.
Indeed, it does. This one actually operates in a bedroom in the Pacific Northwest, which is where Joe is now. But it is that is exactly what we strive for. We want for these cars to look at home riding in any train, and
Nice.
it's really reassuring to hear that. The second road is the Benton Southern. This is a new offering for home shops. We've not before offered the Benton Southern. Very bright car, very colorful car. Another paint scheme that would be almost impossible to do if you're painting and masking yourself. The Benton Southern is a freelance railroad owned by a fellow named Brian Sopke. And he and Joe Loggins actually have intertwined their stories. So the Arkansas Valley car you just saw represents an order of 200. As the railroads moved together, the Benton Southern, in theory, bought 50 of those AV cars, had them reshopped with different doors and a repaint date. These are stenciled Little Rock 881. So as you study those railroads, and they both have Facebook pages that talk about the interaction there, there's actually a connectivity between the Arkansas Valley cars and the Benton Southern cars. Just a glimpse here at what that power looks like, what the railroad looks like. The Benton Southern, it does have a Facebook page, and that's the upper left SD40 there is the banner page on the Facebook page. Just some images of the motive power and the layout at the bottom. He's building version 2 of it. So he has taken down the first version, and the second version is under construction. Just really cool stuff. And he's very, very meticulous and passionate about his railroad, and he shares a lot of content on the freelance Facebook groups as well. Overhead view as it represents a repainted car. The roof is not silver, it's painted the same red as the body of the car. And what a intricate logo. It's the silhouette of the state of Arkansas with the Benton Southern written out across it. Again, something you would not want to decal on a ribbed car, but it just looks gorgeous on this factory painted model.
Really nice. Boy, it's a beautiful car. I like the cushion couplers and the crossover platform there on the end. Rapido just does such nice work.
This is a beautiful car. This railroad, the Quebec and New England, is one we are particularly excited to bring. This is our first time offering it. Sheldon Frankel has done just an amazing job promoting this railroad, advertising this railroad on his YouTube channel. Over 6,400 subscribers, over 150 videos that he has posted over however many years it's been since he started doing it. And the scheme on this car mirrors the livery of the locomotives. Oh. And that top left image is a screenshot of the YouTube page. Go search for Q&E Railroad, and you'll just see an amazing amount of content. The track is meticulous. The scenery is meticulous, and he's very much an operations-based guy as far as his model railroading. He has interchange with Conrail. He has industries that are served in a specific way. And he's just done a great job of branding the railroad through the paint scheme on his locomotives. And you'll see he's even got the diesel shop painted the same way.
Classy. That's nice.
Very, very classy. But if you go through all of his 140 videos, you won't see any Q&E freight cars. He never did any. Huh. So this car is the very first car that's actually in the Q&E paint scheme. And Sheldon and I had a lot of conversation about which way do we go with the car. Should it be just a solid red color? And we did a lot of different versions of it. And he kept pushing me towards, let's do something that matches the locomotives. And I thought, that a lot of freight railroads don't have that. But as we got into it and we whittled away and came up with this paint scheme, wow, it's a gorgeous car. Yeah. And it really speaks to the paint scheme that all of his fans are familiar with on that locomotive. Again, with the yellow pinstriping across all those ribs, that's something you would not want to decal yourself.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But it's a stunning car, and for all of his fans that are already established on his YouTube channel, I think for a number of them to actually now buy a Q&E car and have it in their fleets, I think a lot of folks have been waiting for a Q&E car. What I like about that logo, I mean, it's very distinctive. It doesn't look like something another railroad has done. But it looks good. It looks like, all right, this is something that, a small railroad could have come up with this kind of branding, and it just looks good.
It does, yeah. Wow.
Next is the SUE line, not the prototype SOO line, but the freelance SUE line. And we've posted a few images of these cars, and there's a lot of people, like most of these railroads, that haven't heard of them. So this one is a little bit confusing for folks, but it's a sharp car. The Sioux line is a freelance model railroad that was conceived and owned by the late Dr. Richard Cam. That's him in the lower left. And this was an operating railroad in the Shreveport, Louisiana area for over 40 years.
Wow.
It's had 6 different versions as it's morphed through time, each time getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And Mr. Cam, Dr. Cam, did pass away recently, but on the bottom there you can see a large part of the crew, and they have taken ownership of the railroad. They've moved the railroad to another location, and it's actually in operation and being rebuilt in an even larger capacity. Sioux, S-U-E, it was named after his first wife, and when that became a second wife, that was also, her name was also Sue, S-U-E, so the railroad did not have to get renamed when that happened. So that's actually the catalyst for the name Sioux Line on freelance. And the red and black scheme is one of several schemes. We may be bringing more to life in the future, but it's not just a play on the prototype Sioux Line. This is actually a railroad that's been operating for 40 years, and we're just thrilled to be able to bring the car from the Sioux Line and make it available to folks who know the Sioux Line. This represents a new car with the silver doors, the forklift groove, or a silver roof. The forklift grooves are yellow. It's got an 874 built date, and man, just a sharp color.
That is, yeah.
This one here, the Superior Transfer, is a freelance railroad that belongs to a fellow named Jim Abbott. Many of you may have heard of him or know of him as the owner of Highball Graphics Decals, which is one of the allies of us in the freelance model railroad industry, because he has a lot of decal products for freelance. If you go to his Highball Graphics website, you will see freelance decals available, including his Superior Transfer and the Allagash and a few other railroads you'll find on there. He's got, I think, some V&O decals as well. Jim Abbott worked very closely with me and Mike Confalone on the Tangent 4427 we did for Allagash, and Jim Abbott actually did the artwork for that Tangent car. And as we were working on that project, Jim mentioned to me that he's a freelancer himself. And Tony, I'm going to tell you, it's amazing as we go through projects, just how many people that work for the model railroad companies or all aspects of the hobby have their own freelance railroad.
Wow.
And I had never heard of his Superior Transfer, or didn't know that he had one. He kind of keeps it private. And I said, well, Jim, send me some pictures. I'd like to see what that looks like. And he sent me
nice.
And I thought, well, why haven't I seen this before? And I'd sure like to have a Superior Transfer boxcar running around on my own freelance railroad. And as we got to talking, we decided that there was the possibility of doing a car, and here we are. So he sent these photos of some of his locomotives, a caboose. He's custom painted a number of cars, and like so many of these railroads, that logo, that Superior Transfer logo, he designed. It doesn't look like any logo that's on a prototype railroad. When you look at that locomotive, that SD40 there, you think that looks like something I could see,
Oh yeah.
It's just sharp, and why keep this one under wraps? So we're really excited to bring to our customers and to the freelance market the Superior Transfer car.
Wow.
This does represent a repaint, and I think it's got a 94 date on it, which is a little bit limiting, but depending upon your era, folks can change that, backdate that car if they want. But that's what we've got. All of these cars, by the way, Tony, are available in 4 road numbers.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And
I like that cushioned express, kind of like the Hydra cushion or Super Shock Control. The slogan on the left side of the car for the Cushion Express is that's a nice touch.
It sure is. That's one of the things about some of the freelance model railroaders. Well, all the freelance model railroaders. We've had conversations elsewhere, Tony, about proto freelance and freelance, and folks see something on the real world, on a prototype train, and they want to adapt it to fit their own world, but do it in a different way. And that's exactly what that is. The SP cars, have a Hydro Cushion logo, and he wanted to do something that didn't look like a clone of an SP logo, so he came up with that Cushion Express. And it looks really cool, and it balances out the car with the logo on one side and the green doors in the middle, and the Cushion Express logo on the left-hand side. Now, here's one that's near and dear to my heart. The reason I got involved and started Home Shops is because I'm a freelance model railroader myself. I've got my own version of what I call the Meridian Speedway, and the Texas and Great Northern is a component of that. And this project, as I started with Rapido on it, we were originally going to do 2 road names, and then it became 4 road names, and then it became 6 road names, and I got kind of jealous, thinking all these folks are going to have this amazing car for their own railroad, and I'm not going to have any. So it became 8 road names, and I included my own Texas and Great Northern. For those of you who haven't seen, there's a website, meridianspeedway.net, which is kind of my introduction and blueprint for the railroad. And that story is told a number of different places. But to make the association, here's a few photographs of the motive power inspired by Georgia Pacific's short line railroads. And it's scripted into the story. So if you've seen these locomotives, you've been a fan of the railroad, here's a car, 50-foot car. Just beautiful. I love that this is the first time that logo has been reproduced that large. You can kind of see it on the locomotive cabs and on the noses. It's a very small logo. But to reproduce a round logo over ribs like that is something it just can't do with the circle over ribs as a decal and get that circle to look like a perfect circle.
Well, it looks good, and yeah, I've seen you have that kind of horizontal, the band logo on some cabs, and then that circle. But yeah, I've never seen it done that large. And boy, that again, this has that sort of like incentive per diem paint scheme look. I mean, absolutely authentic looking. That is sharp, really nice, Chris. And I'm glad you got your railroad represented in here.
I appreciate that. I'm just excited about it. I've got one of the shelves here, and I put it next to the locomotives, and the color is actually matched perfectly. It's just a gorgeous car. I'm thrilled about it. It does represented as delivered car. It's got an 872 new date stenciled on the side of it. It's also got some of the smaller stencils. All the cars pretty much have stencils indicating where they're assigned to or what kind of service they're in. This has a when empty return agent, Silsbee, Texas. And it also has a stencil saying that it's assigned to Boise Southern in DeRidder, Louisiana. Just, some of the exciting or the neat little features in the fine print, which, like most of the manufacturers we work with, Rapido's just killed the crispness of the fine print on these cars. Moving on, I say we're excited about this road name. I'm excited about every one of these road names, to be clear. But this is Robert Welke's freelance railroad, the Wisconsin and Upper Michigan. And he is part of the River Rail operating group in the La Crosse area. This is a well-established operating model railroad. Been around for a number of years. The 3 of these photos are from his layout, the white and green scheme. Some of them have red stripes. There's a more simplified version without the red stripe. But lots of folks have heard of Robert Welke's freelance Wisconsin and Upper Michigan. He's got a fantastic ore dock on his layout. And we may also be familiar with a fellow named Greg McComas who owns MacRail. And he also has his own freelance model railroad, the Michigan Interstate. Well, that upper left-hand picture is currently the banner photo on the Wisconsin and Upper Michigan Facebook page. And Greg and Robert Welke got together and had a conversation or two or three and decided that, Robert Welke models this railroad in the 80s, the railroad that he came up with. Greg has his Michigan Interstate Railroad, which he models in current time. And the conversation was, what if at some point after when Robert models it, the two railroads got together and were under the same umbrella. So both of these gentlemen have agreed to that. And the picture in the upper left is the modern version of the Wisconsin and Upper Michigan paint scheme. It kind of mimics the Michigan Interstate, but with green and yellow instead of red and yellow. And what's neat here is, these cars will be brand new-ish on Robert's railroad, and they'll be really weathered and have conspicuity stripes added as they're floating around on the Michigan Interstate. So,
oh wow, that's neat.
Yeah, it's really, really cool to watch these freelance modelers get together and collaborate and actually intertwine their stories. So the Wisconsin and Upper Michigan and the Michigan Interstate have that kind of a collaboration. So this car has a new date on the side of it of January of '72. Final road name is the Wyoming Valley and Western. Now this is a freelance railroad belonging to a rather young person in our hobby, Sam Meehan. And he has just done a really good job of creating the image for his freelance railroad and sharing content on the various freelance model railroad Facebook groups. And he's also got his own Wyoming Valley and Western Railway page. And this is one of those railroads. I didn't know a whole lot about it. But every time I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed and he's got a post there, that's one post that I would always stop on and look at and think that that's just really cool what he's done. He's done quite a few locomotives in that attractive red and gray paint scheme, and it's not a simple paint scheme to paint with all the masking of the stripes. And I really like the boldness of that logo with the ampersand in the square. It just looked like something different, but it's subtle. But this is one that. Man, how exciting to get that available. This represents our most modern car in the fleet as an early 2000s repaint with the conspicuity stripes for folks who are more modern. As a repaint, the entire car represents a boxcar brown dip. So the roof is brown as well. It's got the more simplified data without the cappy line. But it's got all the details and all the crispness there that you'll find on all 8 road names.
The whole group is impressive, as they always are. Every time these come out, it's, ooh, wow, look at that. And then the next question is, I want to know more about that railroad. So it was fun to get the opportunity to not only see, but then a little backstory and where can I find out more. So awesome.
One of the criteria for most of our roads is that there's searchable content. And for most of these railroads, if you go to Facebook, if you go to YouTube and search the road names, clues will come up and you'll find a lot of content and a lot of material. We also did, Tony, a very long second section podcast, which, you can find on YouTube, but we had the road owners of all 8 of these railroads on there. And they each got about 15 or 20 minutes of time to talk a little bit more in depth as well. So if, as you're wanting to learn about these railroads, you want to actually meet and hear from the actual road owners, there is that content on the second section podcast.
Awesome. Now these, as you say, I'll have this video out here ahead of Amherst. You're going to be at the Amherst show, the 2024 version. They'll debut there. But where can most folks that won't be able to make it to the show will go to homeshops.net, correct? Yeah.
Correct. Right now, if you go to homeshops.net, there's a pre-sale page, and they are available at a $5 per car discount. So you can buy them right now for $49.95 per car. And once the cars are actually on hand in stock, and I've shipped all of the pre-orders, they'll then go to our regular in-stock freight car page, and they'll be at the MSRP of $54.95, which is the same price Rapido is selling the cars. So if you want to get a $5 discount, you can pre-purchase yours right now. And some of the road names are going pretty fast. You can probably guess which ones based on what we've talked about. And again, only 50 of each road number were made. So a total of 200 cars of each road name were made, and just 50 of each of 4 road numbers of each car. So these are truly limited edition cars. And again, www.homeshops.net is where you can go to make your purchase. Rapido is sending just 3 sets of each car to Amherst directly for us. So those will be the first production cars that we'll have gotten our hands on. And so there'll be 12 of each road name there at Amherst to sell. And the rest of the 2 pallets will be timed to come here to Fort Worth to be, I want to be back to receive them from Amherst. So we'll start processing that inventory when I get back from Amherst.
Wow, exciting. Well, I appreciate your time, Chris. I know you're busy this week with Amherst coming up. Good to see you. I haven't visited with you in some time. I know we email back and forth pretty regular, and I'm always watching your new releases. So exciting stuff. I'll have a link below in the description that you can get to the Home Shops website. But again, it's super easy, homeshops.net. Chris Palmieri, thanks so much for a visit here and a look at these new Rapido cars. And man, congratulations on the success and the ever-growing line of HO rolling stock you've got going.
Thank you so much, Tony, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk about these cars.